a former WWE champion and Money in the Bank winner, and feel the power.
Wow, I didn't know. I didn't know that. Wow, sir, I am humbled. Much respect to you. You nailed that. You nailed that.
Thank you very much. I was
Parker
worried.
actually asked if you were going to do that just a second ago, and I was like, I think he is.
And I was like, I hope that doesn't beat you down and you get it on.
By no means. It's the first I've heard it today.
Okay.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Now, we've got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. We've got Big E with us right here on 105.3 The Fan. Now, it's really funny. We had Lindsay Rhodes on about an hour ago, and we ended up talking way more wrestling. So we said, we'll probably just talk analytics with Big E, and I know you guys got the draft show coming up. But one thing I was thinking about from like when y'all came out of the cereal box at WrestleMania and then eventually here in Arlington and got beat down by all the legends, how amazing was it to be able to get that much emotion, both at first negative and then super positive from what you guys did with the New Day?
Yeah, man, it was such a roller coaster ride. Getting the idea off the ground took us so long, and it was so difficult, and there were so many no's, so many people backstage who laughed at us, and we tell the story often of Big Show pulling Kofi aside in front of us, in front of me and Woods, and saying, "What are you doing with these guys? You're wasting your time." He wasn't joking. He wasn't, and I mentioned Big Show. There are other people I won't name. I mentioned Big Show because Big Show later came to us and apologized and said I was completely wrong. But we had some real difficulties getting the thing off the ground, but it was so rewarding for us because we just came together through it all, and we said, look, we're going to do things our way, and if we fail doing things in our own way, I'm okay with that. But doing things someone else's way and failing, we just weren't okay with that. So we wanted to sink or swim based on our own merits. And then when this thing finally took off, it's so cool to be able to look back at Kofi Mania, to look back at the Hell in a Cell match. I took a rock bottom. We were the #1 merch movers at the Dallas during that year in 2016.
My son absolutely still has that box of Bootios and a shirt.
Much respect to your son. Yeah, he's got good taste. But man, we had such a blast. And looking back now, my time in the ring is over doing stuff on the commentary side. But I can look back now, and I have no regrets because there are so many times with Kofi and Woods, we spent crying, laughing. We really enjoyed it. And I think too often in our business, so many guys get jaded. They worry about their push. They don't really enjoy the experience. And I can look back and think, man, I knew I was in the good old days when I was in the good old days. I don't look back and regret it. But I knew then, hey, soak it all up. Be present, because these are memories. Man, I have had such an incredible career. I talk about wrestling Randy Orton in South Africa. I've wrestled in Japan more times than I can count. I've been all over the world. I've had so many incredible experiences, and being able to entertain people truly across the globe has been one of life's greatest joys.
Now, I've always wondered this. This can apply to you. It can apply to a whole bunch of wrestlers over the years. When I'm watching Unreal and they talk about Chelsea Green, and she's kind of slotted at a certain spot. What does it mean to you, like, when you find out you were slotted at a certain spot, and then when you break through to be like, told you?
Yeah, man, it's hard to hear when people think you're just a mid-carder, or you're just an opening act, and that's about all you will be. Because I think one of the beautiful things in wrestling is the ability to move up the ladder, to get over with the audience, and to really climb. And so many times in our industry, it's a very political industry, and there are a lot of people in a room that make a lot of decisions about the rest of your career. And we didn't want to only be what people thought we were going to be. We thought our faction would be a great opportunity for us to elevate our careers, and it did in immeasurable ways. So shout out to the talent who are always grinding, who are always trying to be more than what people think they can be, because that is what that's what entertainment is as a whole, and you have to be okay with that. But for us, we were always fighting for more.
And then y'all have had a lot of big moments in the Metroplex, because we go back to Money in the Bank 2021. A bunch of us were at that show, and just that feeling, and I know you would go on to win the world title, but what's that feeling when you grab that briefcase or know you're going to win and just know that, like, you've taken another big step?
Man, I got chills right now just thinking about that moment, because it is one of the coolest moments in my career. I always tell people, like, winning. So I love one. First of all, I think the championships, the accolades are all great too, but it's also about building moments. And that match I love that match. Yeah. And it really had a lot, didn't have that much to do with me. We had so much, like, look, we had Ricochet in the match. We had Drew McIntyre. We had so much talent. It was a great match too. And being able to culminate by hitting Seth Rollins, one of the greatest to ever do it, definitely one of the greatest of my era, to be able to hit my finish on Seth Rollins from the ladder, climb back up and grab that briefcase, and to be able to look up. And mind you, this is shortly after the pandemic lockdowns had eased. This is one of our first big shows on the road. So, I feel oftentimes, I think of Drew, and Drew's thankfully won the title in front of people again. But I think about his time during the pandemic when you're winning these championships and there's nobody. You're looking at a bunch of screens in front of you in the Thunderdome era. And that was a very bizarre time. But to be able to climb that ladder, to look out at the sea of people who are standing and clapping and cheering. That, for me, I am so grateful for the reception of fans. It means the world to me. That moment of winning the briefcase in Fort Worth is one that I will fondly remember for a very long time.
And I swear I'm not trying to just blow smoke. We were those people cheering because we were really excited, because you love it when you see that person that you also like. You talked about it. You don't want to be slotted as a tag guy, mid-card guy, but like fans feel that too. You're like, oh man, that dude can be the dude. And so to see that opportunity, it's super cool for the fans too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a fan, I love seeing the rise. I love seeing the climb, watching a guy's career. Get to watch someone. If you watch Sami Zayn, if you first knew Sami Zayn when he was El Generico, seeing him grind on the independent scene to one day get signed by WWE, then seeing him unmask, and now he's Sami Zayn, the climb through NXT. I love that. I love that when you get to see a guy that you might have watched at a VFW hall, 15 years ago, seeing him now climb to headline WrestleMania, to main event WrestleMania. I love that. I love watching the rise of talent.
So I'm sorry.
Vagabundo.
Yes. So I'm sorry I'm nerding out super hard on this, but I have a bunch of family who lives up in Chicago, and I was super into Ring of Honor, and so I would always go to the Frontier Field House, and like one of the days, it was like Ring of Honor, and then 2 days later, it was like the middle school soccer indoor championship game. And so, but like, yeah, you said, I mean, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Bryan Danielson, Seth Rollins, I almost said Tyler Black. But yeah, seeing all those people on the rise is super cool. And you mentioned Seth Rollins. That's who Lindsay Rhodes, she said she's drawn to. That's her guy.
Yeah. Now, it's really cool working with Lindsay. She has a brilliant mind. Getting to do the show, the evaluation with her, which will be out February 12th on Sumer Sports YouTube page. She's brilliant, but she's also a huge wrestling fan, so I love, too, that we'll just talk wrestling. She showed me a picture. Her daughter was Bianca Belair for Halloween. Oh, wow. So she had the long braid as well. So Lindsay is brilliant, but it's fun just talking wrestling with her as well.
Bianca's my wife's favorite wrestler.
Is she a Bears fan when we had her on? Is that
her husband is a Bears fan.
That's right. I remember when we talked to her a couple of years ago. That was something that I drew away from that. I'm always fascinated at like the putting something together, having an idea, creative part of it, then pulling it off and making it actually happen. Are there times where you're like, no, we can't do that, or is it always an open like, oh, let's try, let's figure it out?
No, yeah, we're all like, I think the best of us, we're all creatives, and we have these big ideas, and you spend enough time, especially when I was an active wrestler at the time when I first came on the road, we were doing 5 shows a week every single week. So that allows you a lot of time on the live events to start honing your craft, to try things. Especially if you know it's not going to be televised, you can try something, and if it fails, it's okay. It's just a live event. So that became one of my favorite things. I got into wrestling because I love the physical side of things, but as I started with the New Day, I really love the creative aspect. I love the idea where the fact that you could take something, a seedling of an idea from your brain, and then talk to a bunch of guys and see it come to life.
Yes.
And then you go out there and see the way fans take to it. For me, that's the drug. That's what I'm addicted to. Is I love that something's swirling around in my brain. Oh, I don't think I've seen that before. Or I don't think we've ever gotten into that move that way. Let's see if we can make it happen. Let's see if we can build to that. And then you start structuring it and layering it in your idea. And I love the creative, collaborative process of putting a match together. When you're sitting down with your opponent, and it's a little inside baseball, but when you're sitting down with your guys and you're talking about structuring what you want to do out there, when you can have these collaborative minds come together, and that was the best part of working with the New Day. We had so much fun, and we had so many laughs together, but we had this real collaborative spirit. And the same thing with the Usos, and I think that's why we had so many great matches, is because we all saw the business much the same. too many talent, I think, get caught up in getting their spots in or getting their moments in, and it's not about building. But I think the best matches and the best programs, the best feuds are all about how can I make you look as good as possible? How can I sell for you? How can I set you up to look good? And when you know that your opponent is going to do the same thing, it becomes like a competition between who could be more selfless.
Yes.
No, I'm going to sell better for you. And now it elevates everything
like
even
Shawn
better.
Michaels,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I still get chills when I think about our Hell in a Cell match, because I love
awesome.
that. I think so many times we get these gimmick matches where they don't feel warranted, like the feud isn't hot enough to really warrant it, but we know we're moving to a certain PLE, and we have to do that.
It's branded,
Right.
yeah.
But the great thing, I think, with the Usos is we had enough equity, we had enough time. I think we might have been 4 or 5 months into our program at the time where we had enough back and forth where it warranted having this Hell in a Cell match. And at the time, a lot of tag teams weren't getting those opportunities. So to be in a tag team Hell in a Cell and to have a level of creativity, look, there's some silliness in that match where you see a trombone come out as a weapon, you see a cowbell as well. But we also wanted to make sure, as creative as we wanted to be, we also had to make sure this thing had to be hard-hitting.
Yeah.
Yes.
People had to believe it had to be violent in many ways. And look, there isn't a lot of blood pouring out, but there's a time Woods is dangling from the pole, handcuffed, and the Usos are taking it to him with these kendo sticks. They are wearing him out. That is real. What you hear, the way we hit each other in that match. So what I love is when you have these moments to really build something special and deliver and have fans invested, that for me is the real beauty. So I really just fell in love with the creative side of our business. And for me, that's really translated to so many things I've been able to do outside of the ring as well.
And I want to talk some more about that, but just real quick for the Usos, they feel like kind of a similar story of, I know they're a legacy with their family, but they were kind of slotted as well. It's like, yeah, you're part of the Samoans, but you're fine.
Yeah, and before they kind of turned things around. We remember when the brand split happened around 2017-ish. I can't remember exactly, but I remember when SmackDown had its own roster, was doing its own PLEs, and that's when the Usos, they were guys who, like you said, they were wearing the face paint, they were coming out doing the haka as well, and people, they just kind of felt like this kid-friendly. They were always talented, but they felt like a kid-friendly act. It was like, okay, there's the Usos, they'll do their little fun little thing, and then we'll move on to the real superstars. But seeing them move over to SmackDown, reinvent themselves, lose the face paint, start with the day one-ish, go to the all black, really change things. So watching them also reinvent themselves was very, very cool.
Now, you talked about it the Thursday after the Super Bowl, the Sumer Sports draft show, the evaluation. But you told us a story I'm hoping we could dive back into on air. How did you get from Wendy's to this draft show?
Oh, man. So, yes, I was telling y'all that I used to work at Wendy's. I spent a year in high school. I only played 1 year of high school football. I love football. I always wanted to play, but my parents had me go to a prep school that didn't offer football, and there was really no way out. It was a great school, but football was always my dream. Obviously, your junior year is your most critical year for getting recruited, so I was behind the 8 ball. I finally, prep school gets too expensive. I end up going to a public school, Wharton High School, for my senior year. Get to play football. I'm super excited. I started out as a linebacker during the offseason. That wasn't the right fit. I ended up playing defensive tackle. Mind you, I am maybe 5'11", playing at 235, trying to play DT in college. Good luck. Good luck. So anyways, I have a good year. And I had some D2 interest. The school called Pittsburgh State offered me, but I wanted to play at a bigger level. But I worked at Wendy's during the off season, had some lighter hours in season. But when my football season was over, I was still working at Wendy's. At the time, we had a very loose, lax manager who let you kind of eat on the job. And I was telling y'all, at one point, I built this 7-stack. I took 7 of the singles patties. Singles, I had a layer of meat, cheese, 7 stacks of that. I believe it's about 2,200 calories. Ooh. That is my greatest creation. So
and not a big mouth.
To your point, my fiance Kristen makes fun of me all the time. I have a very small mouth apparently, so I had to really cram that thing down to fit into my mouth. Anyways, I spent that off season when the season was over from December until May. I put on 40 pounds, and that's not sloppy weight. I was eating and lifting, just getting bigger and stronger. And because of Wendy's, shout out to Wendy's. Wendy's is the reason that I was able to put on those 40 pounds, just eating protein, eating Frosties, stuff in my face all day while I was at work. That allowed me to get up to 275. So I was big enough, I was strong enough that I was like, hey, we want to offer you. And if it wasn't for getting to Iowa, I don't get to WWE. I don't get to have all these experiences that now I've been blessed to have.
Get this man a Wendy's endorsement now.
I've tried. I did a little thing for Wendy's a few years ago with Big Noon Kickoff, but they have a Big E bag, man. Why am I not?
Right. Yeah.
I've been trying for years. Wendy's come through.
We're good hype people. We can help make this happen.
Pass that along, Wendy.
All right, absolutely. And while we're hyping things, remember the Thursday after the Super Bowl, Sumer Sports, they're launching the Evaluation NFL Draft Season series. You're going to be a part of it. It sounds like it's going to be a blast.
Absolutely was a blast, man. We shot this thing a couple weeks ago, and I had so much fun. So I got to interview Eli Manning. You're going to see that. You're going to see Marshall Faulk interview Joe Thomas. But we also sit down with all of these former scouts, these GMs, Mike Mayock, and we talk football. Lindsey Rhodes, who is such a brilliant mind, and we have 10 episodes. It starts February 12th. Sumer Sports YouTube page. It's called The Evaluation. I'm telling you, the production quality is incredible. We sit down with Sumer Sports. Their incredible technology, their analytics, the way they break down the game is really incredible. So it really is marrying these conversations with scouts, with GMs, and with the Sumer Sports technology, with their AI, their analytics, to talk about the game, to talk about the pre-draft process. And I think we give you like the most incredible look at these players who are coming up, and we break down the next class of guys you're going to see kill it in the NFL.
And thank you so much for the time and indulging us on so many of these things.